Hey guys, how are you doing? I had a conversation today with a client that reminded me of something I did a long time ago already, it seems, but I want to share with you, and it's something about your relationship with your husband, yeah? It is so important to us. If you're listening to this, then your relationships are important to you. And then by extension, your relationship with your husband is important to you. Okay, I'm just going to make that assumption on your behalf. Otherwise, you would not be listening to a podcast about relationships. So, and all the relationships, I believe, are the same in a way that they teach us about us, teach us about how to relate to ourselves, and through those relationships. Yeah. So, if you are struggling with your relationship with your husband, okay, let's talk about that. I was once struggling with my relationship with my husband a long time ago. And I remember being completely focused and obsessed about this one thing that he did. I'm not going to talk about it because it's his business, but we'll talk about my side of it. And it doesn't really matter what it is, what it is that bugged me, because we all have stuff that bugs us in other people. And it doesn't really matter what it is, because it's all, what's going on is all in our head that has to change. They don't have to change. So I remember it completely consuming my thoughts about him. If he did, let's say, 20 things in one day, I would only think about that one thing that bugs me. Yeah. And I would feel bugged by it. I would feel annoyed by it. And I would kind of want it to change. I would feel frustrated about it. I would feel bad about it. I would not, at the same time, I would not think about anything else he was doing. Or I would kind of notice it, but not really focus on it. I would not pay it much attention. And I would take all my energy and just focus on that one thing that was bugging me. And so the feeling that I had for the most part about him was that feeling of that annoyment or whatever, that not good feeling, right? So I remember deciding that I want to feel better. I want to love my husband. I want to connect with my husband. I want to feel good about my husband. And so that decision had me going I went for walks, and I would go for a walk and I would say it like a mantra in my head, something like I said, I am so proud of my husband. And as I said that, I, of course, went to look for things in my head. I'm not saying, of course, actually not, of course. I didn't say I'm so proud of my husband without a feeling. But I genuinely wanted to feel good about him. I wanted to love him because theoretically, on paper, my brain knew that kind of things are good and he's a good husband and I love him. But feeling-wise, I felt bad. I felt like I'm just only focused on the bad things. So I would go for walks and I would just keep repeating to myself, I'm so proud of my husband. And as I kept saying that, and my desire to feel good about him brought me to look for things that I actually am feeling proud about him. And I came up with so many things. And as I kept practicing that, the feeling of proud grew in me about him. And what ended up happening, actually, let me now stop here, and I'm going to tell you my favorite story, which I think I already probably shared with you. It's from my favorite Buddhist guy, Ajahn Brahm. He tells this story about building a brick wall. He is a monk, a British monk who lives in Australia, and he, at one point, long time ago, was building a monastery, and he had to build a brick wall. So as he built that brick wall, he was done, and then after he was done, he noticed the two bricks that were kind of crooked or sticking out. And for days and months after, he was walking past the wall, and those two crooked bricks were really bugging him. And he kept really, he didn't like the wall. He felt bad about it. And every time he would walk past the wall, he was looking at those two bricks and really feeling bad about it. And then one day, I think someone came to the monastery and looked at the wall and said, "What a beautiful wall." And at that moment, he realized that he didn't see the whole wall. He only saw those 2 crooked bricks, but the wall was so huge. And so that's a metaphor for all of us who are super focused on the one thing that really bugs us in that one person, which was me with my husband, and worried about his one thing that bugged me, and completely not seeing, not acknowledging, not noticing the rest of the wall, the rest of his life, completely not feeling the goodness of all the rest of it, of the whole of his day, whole of his life, everything else. And so that is exactly what I am offering to you, is to start slowly, start noticing other bricks. You don't have to let go of the brick that bugs you. All you can do, I mean, you can let go of that, obviously, and if you want, and if you can let go of it once and for all and never look at it again. But if you're struggling with that, and if you can't let it go, and if you're super focused on it, then I want to offer you to gently start to show yourself the other bricks. Oh, he did this. Okay, how do I feel about this? Right? Or I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, and start to notice all the other thoughts you think about him, all the other feelings. And the one sentence that I feel really powerful is, you can say to yourself, I want to feel better about my husband, and I want those 2 bricks to be smaller in my eyes. I want to notice the other 98 bricks of my husband and not focus on these 2 so much. You can simply declare that and relax, and then watch your mind do that slowly, day by day, and see the other bricks. Notice all the other things, and keep reminding yourself, these 2 bricks that bug me, they're simply a part of him. They're simply a part of what he does, and my obsession with them is what's really harming me. So what if we start noticing it and start to shift our mind and to where those bricks are so small that I don't even notice them anymore. They're still there, but I don't think about them. I forget about them. They don't bug me anymore. Sure, if I think of them, I feel kind of bugged by them, but I'm no longer obsessed by them. I am no longer wishing that he would change so I could feel better. And then you will slowly notice all the other parts of your husband. And I don't want you to force it. I just want you to imagine this journey that I just described to you, and imagine that will happen to you, and just put your mind on a task to do that. It will simply do that, because now your mind has awareness. Your mind has awareness that that's what it's doing. Your mind has awareness that there's more to your husband than the 2 bricks. Your mind has awareness of the fact that you do actually want to feel good about your husband. Your mind has awareness that it is very important to you to connect with him, to have a happy marriage with him, to love him, to appreciate him. Your mind has awareness of all those things, and it will align itself with them as you see them more, as you pay more attention to those things. Instead of being obsessed with the 2 things that bug you, simply remind yourself of all those things that I just mentioned. And then you will start to shift your focus, yeah? Because it all comes down to our thoughts, right? Even if those 2 things are there, you could choose not to think about them. You could choose to love them. You could choose to be bothered by them. All those things are available to you, and it's up to you what you will decide. I personally don't like to take away things from my clients. For example, I don't want to take away your thoughts that bug you about your husband. You should keep them. But also, let's notice all the other thoughts you have about him. They're there. let's look at them. Let's feel the feelings that you have there, right? And notice that you actually want to feel bad about him because of the habit. You're so habituated to feel bad about him or to be bugged, right, about him. And you don't want to be, obviously, consciously, when you think about it, you're like, no, I want to feel good. I want to feel connected. I want to feel happy. That takes training. That takes practice. So start practicing that, right? What else? That's it. That's all I have for you today. And I am super passionate about all the relationships. Either it's with your son, with your husband, with your mom, anyone. The same thing goes for your son. If you are super obsessed about this one thing that your son does, zoom out. Look at all the other things he does. Don't let your mind be super narrow and only think about the one thing that bugs you. Don't let it run away with you, right? And it needs training. Your mind needs to be trained on what you want it to think about. If you let it think about whatever it wants to think, then it will find things that are wrong with everything, because that's our human mind, which is totally normal. And you can direct your mind on what you want to think. And I choose to believe things about my husband that I love. First of all, I love having a husband. I love having a husband. It is the best. I love my husband. He is amazing. He's the best dad for my kids. They're so lucky. He's the best papa ever. That's what we call him, papa, because in Russian, it's papa. And I just love having him. He always wants to make me happy. He loves helping me. These are all things I choose to think on purpose. These are all things I love to believe about him. And I love to take care of him. I love to make our connection important. And I like to make sure that we are connected. And my connection to him is super important to me. Those are the things I believe. And so whenever I feel disconnected, then I don't feel good. I'm not used to feeling bad about him. Then I quickly do everything I can and anything I can to reconnect. And that's what I wish for you, for your Norm to be just feeling good. Like things are good. Yeah, we're good. I love him. I wonder how he's doing, right? And to have the things that bug you be kind of secondary, because they will be there, right? All right. I love you all so much. I wish you good relationships. If you need any help with any of them, this is what I'm here for. You can simply go to my website, www.coachingnatalia.com. Sign up for a free mini session where you can tell me everything that bugs you, and I can tell you how I can help you. All right? Okay, my friends, have a good week, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.